Welcome to the Soul Vision Powercast. I am your host, Sherrod Cohen, with my co host.
T Rex.
And today we're discussing 8 causes of a sexless relationship. Have you ever had one?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, yeah, but we weren't involved in any way. I have relationships with people I don't have sex with, but um in my romantic
Yeah,
relationships,
that I'm
no.
talking about
I've never
serious relationship.
Oh no, I've never had that. I've never had the desire to have that.
Okay.
We grown as fuck. It's got to be some fucking happening on a regular basis. Pardon me, y'all. Prudes and but I don't understand it. So tell me what I don't even know what that is. So you got
Okay.
to enlighten me.
Now, this article is coming from Choosing Therapy. And it starts off by defining what is a sexless marriage. And it says, now, while there is not a universal sexless marriage definition, sexless marriage, or they call it dead bedroom, refers to a marriage with little or no sexual activity between partners less than 10 times per year. 10 times. It's 12 months in a year, but y'all doing it less than
Less
10.
than so that's less than once a month. How? Okay, keep
Okay.
going.
Okay. Now, is a sexless marriage normal? Now, many people in sexless relationships report feeling alone with the issue. However, an estimated 15% of married couples have not had sex in the past 6 months to a year. And according to Dr. Robert Epstein, 10 to 20% of romantic relationships in the U.S. are sexless, which accounts for an estimated of 40 million people. Now, it says it's common to believe that men want more sex and women want less. While this does occur, it's not uncommon for it to be the other way around.
It's not,
That's
especially when your partner, your female partner is a woman of a certain age.
okay.
Like I think that and I don't have any scientific research to back this up. This is just my opinion. I think
Okay.
that men reach their peak sex drive when they're younger, and women reach their peak sex drive when they're older. I
Oh,
know that this has been true for me.
okay.
I thought I was at my peak when I was at my 20s and 30s. No, that is not true.
You know what? And here's some more unscientific shit. See, I also believe that growing up, I think men, like you said, we're in our 20s, we're young, so we're always active and this and that and the other. And then I think, especially depending on the jobs we take, if they are very like laborious, like physically demanding, I think over
Mhm.
time, that between the jobs that tear your body down, the drinking, the bad diet,
I was about to say.
the bad diet, because a lot of us have really just, we're football players, ball players in high school and college, but then once we get married and or we get older, we get lazy and we just let ourselves go. We just, yo, I'm making money, I'm paying bills, but
Right.
it's affecting us in a lot of different other ways. And I
Hmm.
and I and I and I truly believe that our diet, the jobs we have, the stress level, and there's nine psychological barriers that causes ED. So
And so, in addition to those psychological barriers, there's physiological barriers too,
yes, I agree 1,000%.
And I think the physiological barriers are probably acknowledged more than the
Hmm.
psychological ones. And now that I'm in my 50s, I am encountering men that have regular bouts of ED.
Hmm.
But these men got diabetes. These men have high blood pressure. These men, like you said, were living unhealthy
Yeah.
lives. So that has contributed to that. And also, these jokers ain't out here getting therapy or trying to heal themselves psychologically, mentally, or
That's true.
emotionally.
I mean,
So that has something to do with it too.
and then
And
go. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
and you know, it's a trip, and it plays on the partner psychologically too, because you be thinking, well, shit, is it me? Am I the reason for your erectile dysfunction? That's the very first thing that women think when it happens. Like, damn, I done turned him off in some kind of way, or
I mean, you
and
know
then
what?
men don't be wanting to admit that they have erectile dysfunction.
No, I mean,
So
come on now.
they good with making you, or not making you, but letting you think it's you because they don't want to talk about it.
And you know what? When you suffer certain injuries, I've looked at this doctor on YouTube, and they're talking about injuries to your hips. When you lose mobility in your hips are everything. It
Hmm.
controls your lower half, it controls your upper half, and without your hips, there's nothing. You know, come on now. Can you imagine your hips just being totally destroyed and you trying to have sex? And
Do
you,
you know the comedian Miss Pat? Miss Pat. Well, she's probably our age
oh,
or
older
older.
lady. The
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, we would be considered older, Sharada, and I don't like
No,
that. So,
well, I mean, hey, to some of the
but
people that
any
might be
she
listening.
so she was telling us, the audience, about her her handicapped uncle,
Okay.
and he was stuck in a certain position, and her grandfather used to hire a prostitute for the uncle because he was, but the man couldn't bend at the waist, his hips didn't work, so they had to help him out when the prostitute came. They had to straighten him out for the prostitute, and
Wow.
her other cousin had to lift him up onto the lady so that he
Oh
so
my.
that he could have sex with her. So when you said that the hips, can you imagine? No, I can't, because when she was telling the story, I was like, first of all, I can't imagine being that prostitute, because there are now two teenage girls in the room hoisting a man onto me so that I
Right.
can have sex with him. And then I can't imagine what it was like for them seeing their uncle. Now you seeing all his little big business, and this lady, she naked. Like, can you imagine that? I can't imagine, as those two teenagers, what that was like for them. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I know that was off
Hey,
topic,
but
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 yeah,
you know
no,
what?
I can't imagine not
You know
having
what will
sex
piss
with my
me
hip.
off though? We done hoisted this heavy dude up here, and it don't last but a second, and we got to come right back and come get him.
But she was saying the uncle was getting it in. Like, once he got up there, he knew what to do. Oh, but I can't imagine being in that situation. Right? I can't. But
Oh
what I
shit.
also cannot imagine? I can't imagine being in a sexless relationship.
No.
But I also feel like, because we've talked often about this, about conversations that need to be had prior to getting into a
Yeah.
relationship. And I think that this is one of those. What we should discuss, what should happen, should one of us get into a situation where we are not sexually able to do it anymore.
Right.
Because even for women, like, I might lose my sex. I know for some women during menopause or after, they lose their sex drive. God forbid that should ever happen to me. But those are conversations that we got to have with our potential mates. Like, okay, so what's the contingency plan should you lose the ability to use your penis, or I lose my sex drive? Are we breaking up? Do we then consider outside, people? Like,
Right.
if you love your mate so much but y'all aren't having sex, do I now allow my mate to go out and have sex with somebody else if I
Right.
can't do it? So those are conversations that I want to
And
have
that's a
with my
very serious
partner.
conversation as well. Very
It is.
serious. Now we could just, you know, we've had our laugh, and but we did bring up one of the topics, and it is number one, and that's health issues.
Mm-hmm.
And it says if you or your partner are dealing with health concerns, that this may impact your desire or ability to have sex. Several medical conditions, including diabetes, cancer, cirrhosis of the liver, and heart disease, are known to reduce libido. Some conditions even impact physiology in a way that can make sex difficult, painful, or just plain out impossible.
Mm.
And like you said, that's an issue that should be discussed before, you know, that's something we should discuss like before the relationship gets serious. Let's talk about all these possibilities. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna get older. Do we get older and let everything fade if that's what it is, or, as far as the sex life, and we just live as a loving, like we think those some of those old couples live just sexless lives, nothing but they just
Mm-hmm.
love each other, or do we invite people in to satisfy the partner that is still sexually active or can do it? What?
So I have a confession to
Okay.
make. I used to be a phone sex operator,
Okay.
and it was actually one of the best jobs I ever had. But it gave me insight into how human beings work. Really, like it was that job really took me to school on male female relationships in particular. But I had a client, a regular, who was a cuckold. So his penis didn't work at all,
Okay.
and he um he would allow his wife's boyfriend to, well, he allowed his wife to have a boyfriend, and eventually he allowed the boyfriend to move in with them. And um he would watch while they would have sex because he still wanted to be married to her,
Hmm.
and she still wanted to be married to him, but his penis didn't work.
Right.
So they got her a man, and then eventually a live-in man.
Wow.
Um, yes. And I was asking him, like, what does that do for you, like, ego wise? How is it that you can watch another man, have sex with your wife?
Well,
And he
pleasure
was
her
like,
like you can't.
yeah, but for him, it was his wife's happiness is paramount. So if he wanted to see her pleasured, he wanted to see her happy, even if it wasn't him. He was like, my job is taking care of her in every way. So if that means that I gotta hire a man to please her, then that's what I'm gonna do, because my job is to take care of her, and it's my pleasure to do that. And so he said that he reminds himself of that while he's watching them have sex.
Oh
He
wow.
was like, yeah, he said it turned him on to see her getting pleasure. Although his penis doesn't get hard anymore, he got some semblance of pleasure from that.
And seeing like we said earlier, when it comes to taking care of ourselves, I mean, men are notorious for trying to tough it
Mm-hmm.
out, and we tough it out so long to where everything is it causes irreparable damage now, and it can't be
Mm-hmm.
reversed. And now we're unsatisfied with life, pissed with our partners because they may seek it elsewhere now,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I tell a lot of young men. I mean, like, yo, you have to put yourself first and realize what your long-term goal is for yourself as far as, living. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see, I went to Home Depot, I saw this old lady pushing this old man in a wheelchair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to be him.
I don't. Yeah, and I say that all the
And
time. I don't
vice
want to be
versa.
her.
You know,
Yeah.
and and now I saw a different scenario with old people. Now, this old man and this old woman, neither one should be out driving, but they can walk, they can drive and shit. And so the old man takes the older woman and he's opening the door. He's still that gentleman and whatever, but he couldn't get her in the car.
Mhm.
So some brothers ran up, picked her up, put her in the car or whatever, and hey, he's grateful. But in his
Mhm.
mind, he's still that 20 something year old,
Yes.
and I have no problem with that. But the only problem I have is both y'all should not be out in public like this. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Y'all be the handler.
But
Where
but
y'all kids at?
but I can't understand. Would I want to live that life? No, where I got to watch somebody pleasure my woman because I can't do it. Absolutely not. And now hell, you're gonna make me go drink a gallon of beetroot juice and sea moss and
Right.
you know, and men have to understand we got to take care of our hearts.
Mhm.
The liquor and the cigarettes and the weed and all that stuff, it's gonna take a toll over some time. So we got to do a better job of take care of ourselves.
Yes.
Number two, unmatched libido
It's a thing.
is a thing. It is
It's a
really,
thing.
it is a thing. Now,
Cause so I my fiance who is now deceased, rest in peace.
okay,
His libido was way higher and stronger than mine. He was also 7 years younger than me. And I feel like, I thought I could hang because I feel like I got a pretty strong libido.
okay.
You have to define what the fuck that is before you make an assumption like that. Like, what do you mean you have a strong libido? Like, what do you like on average? What is sex looking like in your? Because I didn't know that people was having sex every day, multiple times a day, and I didn't know that that was a thing. And my vagina didn't have the capacity to handle all of that. And I for real, I feel like we should. These are conversations that also need to be had prior to getting into it because I
That's true.
made the assumption we are just gonna have sex. I didn't think about how much, how long, and all of that plays a part in it. So yes,
Now remember on the scene on Harlem Nights where she gets on top of Richard Pryor and says, "Baby, let's do it all night long," right? And he says, "No, how about we do it for 15 minutes real hard and pass out and go to sleep?" you know, and that is a
yes,
thing. That's a
that's the
thing.
thing.
Now,
That's the thing.
how they describe an unmatched libido is the difference in sexual desire is one of the most common causes of sexlessness in a marriage. Usually, it's not the fact that a couple has different levels of sexual desire, but rather how they manage these differences that leads to a decline in sex. The person who wants it more feels rejected and unloved, often
Hmm.
leading to a decline in initiating. The partner who wants it less feels guilty for not wanting it more. These
Hmm.
feelings lead to distance in a relationship, which exacerbates intimacy issues.
But see, this is also the thing. I think that you have to study your partner and you have to find out what what turns them on, what
Right.
pleases them sexually. Me and my fiance didn't do that with each other.
Okay.
We didn't explore each other's bodies. We didn't explore what does it for us and what doesn't. We just was, having sex. We never did that. So I vowed that in my next relationship that we would have those kinds of conversations and we would do a whole full body um sexual exploration. I think we would all benefit from that. Like, touch me how you think I might want to be touched. And
Okay.
then I can tell you if that works. Like, study me. Let's well shit, we ain't doing shit else but being together. We might as
We
well
might as well
like
learn each other's.
learn how to,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna touch you how I feel like you might want to be touched, and you tell me if I'm doing it right. And then so every time we then have sex after that, it becomes a lesson in exploring
Right.
how I can please my partner, how I can bring him or her to ultimate pleasure. Because that's what I want. it's not just about me. It's not about me obtaining pleasure. I want my partner to have pleasure too. That's for me, because some people are selfish lovers, Shiraz. Sometimes they don't even think about their partner.
Right.
I'm one of those person that wants to think about my partner because my job here is pleasing you. My job here is making you happy. My job here is loving you in
Right.
all aspects of this thing. So that means when it comes to sex, I got to find out what you like, and you got to find out what I like, and we have to work on doing those things. But it also has everything to do with intimacy and vulnerability combined
It
together.
does. It does.
um we have to learn how to be intimate for whoever our partner is. I can't take my generic intimacy from my last relationships or other
Hmm.
experience and apply it to this new partner. No, because this is a different person. I got to learn him, and he has to learn me, and we have to figure out our hot spots and all of that stuff. It's not You're not going to be sexually compatible until you do those
Yeah.
things.
Communication is a major uh, foundation that we should build. You know what I'm saying? Because if we don't use communication, you can't do anything without communication. Nothing on
No,
this planet.
no.
You got different types of communication: body language, facial expressions, words, whatever, gestures,
Mhm.
and we have to use each one of these things in order to convey what it is we're feeling and on the whole nine. And like you
Mhm.
said, if we're going to be together, why not explore one another in totality and say, you know what, hey, whatever we did in the past, that's the past. I can't assume it's going to work now. And I think that's for a lot of us guys.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say people, period, because I think we get to thinking that people are so generic, and we
Mhm.
assume that what worked for her is gonna work for this one, that one.
Yeah.
Oh man, I done had a lot of sex. I done banged out a lot of females,
Yeah, I
but
know what to do.
yeah, it's like man, they and all it is, and that's not what turned. I had one female just tell me, "Hey, no fingers," at all, and I'm
I
like,
feel
"Oh,
her fingers are creepy.
so right." And
Are.
but then you got some that just ram the whole fist up in that joint. You know what I'm saying? So you have to ask. You have to hold these
Don't
conversations.
put your fist up in nowhere.
Man,
You
nowhere.
do, and like stuff like that. Like your little kinks. I think that's not a kink, but that's a kink.
It,
You
it, it,
need
it,
to say something.
hey,
You gotta tell me before you ram your whole fist in my vagina. Please don't.
no, no, no. But I'm telling you, you got some women that are they want it rougher than the last time.
Yeah, they
So
do. Yep.
you got to be diverse in your. That's why your hips got to work. Damn it.
Ah, yes.
All right. Number 3, life transitions. And what we have here is we all face challenges in life that impact our health and happiness. During these times, it is normal for sexual desire to decrease as we focus on getting through the struggle and reestablishing our balance. Life transitions include job loss, financial issues, grief, high stress due to work, a move, family issues, etc., childbirth, infertility, menopause. So I'm gonna go back to the job loss. That's one of those. Remember the psychological things that can impede when you're worrying about paying bills, eating, taking care of those who you love. Obviously, that's gonna. I don't want to have sex. I need to get a job. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? So,
right.
and that's going to lead to the financial issues. What my man Rudy Mason, Ray Moore said, no, no romance without finance is a damn nuisance. And
Mm-hmm.
without money, I'm sorry, you can love somebody all day long, but
When your stomach growling, nobody's feeling sexy. When you get cut off notices, and you know nobody's feeling like sexy.
right,
Like, I know I'm not. I don't want to have. I ain't never been with a broke man. But I can't imagine if our shit about to get cut off and
Sidebar,
we
sidebar, sidebar, sidebar. What's a broke man? Please explain this to me because I
a
hear it
broke
so
man is a
often.
broke man, like somebody who just ain't got shit. Like, and I'm not talking about just financially. I'm talking about spiritually and emotionally and mentally too.
Okay.
Like, but mainly for this discussion, somebody who just doesn't have any money.
Okay. I'm just,
And
that's my definition as well. Any man that can't take care of himself is a broke man.
is a broke man.
Okay.
If he just doesn't have the resources to take
Right.
care of himself or others, he broke.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I've never been in that situation, but I can't imagine that if you broke, you probably living in a broke ass looking place. I'm not coming over there to have sex with you. Or if I'm staying somewhere with you and our stomachs are growling and our phones is
Our
off,
lights are out, right?
our lights are out, I can imagine that's an environment conducive to sex. Like, but Sherrod, it happens all the time.
It does.
All the
It
time.
certainly does. And
But there aren't people like me out here having sex with somebody that's flat broke.
right.
Like I can't go from who I am right now. I'm able to take care of myself. I come to the table with all my own everything. And then there's somebody who's interested in me who has nothing. It doesn't mean that he's a horrible person. I just not at this stage in the game. I can't fuck with nobody like that.
I mean, you know
And
what?
I definitely can't have sex with that person.
I understand the whole thing about money, right? We need it. For me, it's a common sense thing. It's not. It shouldn't even be an issue. It's common sense. If you want
Mm-hmm.
anything out of life, or you want to keep the shit that you do have, you need some money,
Give me some
and
money.
and in order for us to come together on any level, I think we need to be compatible. You know, and I think overall compatibility weighs more than just financial compatibility, because I think
Yeah.
a lot of women have gotten to the point where someone said, I'm choosing money over love all day. And it's like,
Let me tell you, Gerard.
well, hey, hold that, because that's our next one.
Okay.
That's our next one. All right. We just mentioned this. Number 4 is communication issues. If you and your partner are experiencing difficulties with lack of communication, this is going to impact your connection and closeness. It is difficult to have sex with your partner when you feel distant and disconnected. Emotional connection is a prerequisite to sex, especially for women. Agree?
I agree.
Okay. Stoke this whoever says the most common reason for a sexless marriage is a lack of communication. So many people are uncomfortable talking about sex, so they fall into a routine of sex that seems manualized and not satisfying.
Yes,
The
I have
idea of
experienced
telling their
that.
partner they want to have sex or they want to try something different in the bedroom is too overwhelming, so they simply do not talk about it. And
I've
we
been,
talked about that earlier.
yeah, I've been there. I've been in a situation where, and there's also another like little nuance. I wanted to keep peace, and I was younger too. I didn't want to hurt my partner's feelings.
Oh, okay.
So I was willing to sacrifice my own pleasure, because I didn't want to hurt his feelings.
Okay.
So I diminished myself so that he could still feel like a man, or in my mind,
Right.
he could still feel like a man.
Now, was it he didn't want to communicate and you did, or y'all just didn't talk, period?
It was weird because he was an emotional wreck. So it was easier for me not to communicate because I didn't want to have an argument. And every time there was something that I wanted to communicate, it turned into an argument because he was emotionally unstable. So he didn't know how to effectively communicate as an adult. He felt like if I brought an issue up, that it should turn into an argument.
Mm,
And it was just me trying to express whatever in the relationship. So after so many times of doing that, I just figured, you know what, never mind. I won't even bring up
wow.
any of the subject. And so imagine how many times, how often that happens to people in relationships. And I was younger, much younger than I am now. I didn't know any better.
Right.
I thought, this is what you do. You're trying to make stuff work. I'm trying to keep the peace and I want to be his peace. No, but he wasn't being my peace.
Right. And that's that compatibility. That's all it is, coming together and saying, look, I know I'm not gonna get everything I want all the time. We got to
Mm-hmm.
compromise. We got to talk. We got to all these things. I think when it comes to relationships today, we're rushing the process. you
Mm-hmm.
know and I've been told, life is not a race, it's a process, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't skip any of the steps along the way, because if you do, you're going to find yourself having to backtrack and waste time going over and doing it all over again when you should have just done it right the first time. So
Yep.
that's what I would tell anybody, man. Look, whatever you have an issue with, go ahead. It's going to be painful to talk about it, right then and there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be more pain if you don't.
Absolutely. In the long run, it is. You got to address it. And even if it leads to a breakup, good. I
Yeah.
mean, because if
Right.
it's not working, it's not working. And maybe y'all need to break up.
Hmm.
So those things can be small blessings that we don't even recognize as blessings at first.
Okay. Now, number 5 is called other relationship issues. Now, other relationship challenges may lead to a decline in sexual intimacy as well, including feeling alone in your relationship. I've had that
Mhm.
one.
Me too.
Infidelity, been there. Addiction, lies, emotional affairs, been there. Or
Hmm.
other betrayals. If there is an issue of trust in the relationship, it is hard to be vulnerable and therefore difficult to engage in sexual activity.
This is true. Because if I don't like your ass right now, I
Man,
can't I can't even see trying to put on all of the girl stuff and give you the best parts of me
yeah,
intimately, and I don't like your ass, and you've been listening to me. You've been cheating, or we got issues in our relationship, or you abusive, or you aggressive, or whatever. Nobody
right.
wants to have sex with somebody they don't fucking like, even if you love that person.
Yeah.
Cause I remember being in my relationship and there were periods where I just didn't like him
Hmm.
because of whatever it was he was doing that I didn't like. And so I definitely didn't want to have sex with him. I couldn't even turn on
I
nothing.
trust me.
Like you can't be sex. You can't if you mad at them, if they betrayed your trust, if there's some issues in the fucking relationship, nobody wants to have sex with somebody they don't fucking like right now.
Hey,
I don't even feel sexy.
and you know what? Let me tell you, from a man's perspective, when when you go to a woman's house and she says, "Hey, can you do this, fix that, lift that, bring this in, and this and that and the other," and you don't get none, right? Every time you come over to the house, is I'm being put to work, but I can't put in work, right? So I'm like, oh
So
no.
wait a minute. Let me just ask you, interjection here. So, because I be having a honeydew list for all of my dates. So is pussy payment for honeydews?
No, 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 no. See, there's three things pussy isn't. It's not a prize, it's not a present, and it's definitely not payment for goods and or services. So
Okay.
no. But what I'm saying is, like, damn, if I'm coming over, I don't always want to get put to work. You know,
Hmm.
be naked, come to the door, surprise me with some different shit. Don't come to the door with your honey-do list. Be like, oh, by the way, the last time you wasn't here, you wasn't able to rebuild the back porch for me. you know,
So
it's
how
it.
about this? How about come to the door naked, also with the honeydew list, though. Is that acceptable?
You know what?
Like,
I'm gonna tell you what's acceptable. I don't mind doing for you, but
mm,
at least don't make it seem like it's just all I'm doing is this stuff for you, and I can't
right,
get nothing out of it because is
understand.
I'm not gonna ever ask you for money.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's not. I don't want those things from you. But when it comes down to being intimate and this and that and the other, don't just think of me as some servant. Don't think of me as
Hmm.
somebody, oh, well, you work out, you. No, I don't want to lift no shit. I don't want to lift your heavy ass waters.
Right.
I don't want to do none of that shit. I don't want to bring this shit up the steps. I'm tired of lifting couches and all this other shit. My back hurt. You see what
Right.
I'm saying? We can hire 2 men in a truck for that shit. How much it
For
costs?
real. Like, I'm with you on that. I feel that. Because
But
just like you don't want to do all that shit, I don't want to come over and cook all the goddamn
that's
time.
and see what
I
I'm saying?
don't.
That now that's where we need to communicate and talk about it. Say, look, hey,
Mm.
and then when you try to initiate something with somebody and they like, but damn, you ain't got no problem with asking me to do all this shit.
Right.
How come I can't get none? So,
So, okay, go ahead.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
So, let's talk about initiating
Okay,
sex. I am not an initiator, and um, I like to be pushed up on. Like, I like to be somebody to mac me. That's
right,
because for me, that's how I know that you like me.
okay,
If I'm making the first move, I need to know. I need to be for sure. So I know if you make the first move, that means you really want me, or this is how it works in my mind. And so it is the same with sex. And for me, it's that's part of the turn on for me.
okay,
I like I don't want to make the first move ever.
okay.
But I will because I know there has to be reciprocity. That's
Eh,
not my strong suit. Making the first move or initiating sex is not for me my strong suit. I feel awkward doing it even.
Okay, now dig this.
I
But
like responding to the initiative.
now, my thing is, I wouldn't mind initiating none of that, right? But
Hmm.
at least let me score more times than I'm rejected. And
Hmm.
and I've been in a relationship where, you reach out, you touch, and it's like, and after a while, it's like I
I'm
quit,
not doing
and
it.
I'm gonna
I
wait
quit.
till
Yeah.
you, yeah, and I'm gonna wait till you either do it or don't, and then I'm gonna make up my mind from there whether I want to continue in this loveless, sexless,
But see,
dry ass relationship.
I'm different in that regard though.
Okay,
Like I'm gonna touch you. If I don't touch you, I don't like you.
right.
I'm doing all of that. It's just the actual physical, it's business time actions. I don't do those. Like I will let you know you can get it, but I'm not necessarily about to be like. But sometimes though,
So
every
you're
now and
not the aggressor.
I'm not the aggressor,
Okay.
but I will be like because I know in grown up relationships you have to,
Yeah. I mean,
and
cause
plus I don't want my man to feel like
you don't want
I,
it.
I yes, and I still want to be reciprocal in our relationship.
Right.
I don't want it to always just be him doing stuff, although initiating sex is not my strong suit, but I always tell them, every person that I'm dating, this is not my strong suit.
Right.
I'm not an initiator of sex. I will, but I'm not going to do it all the time. Really, I feel like that's your job. That's one of my love languages for you. I need you to initiate sex with me,
Okay.
but I will do it for you too. But that's just not my thing,
And
though.
and that's understandable. I mean, because if once we know off the rip what things are, then now we
Hmm.
can't hold her like, oh, she ain't doing. Nah, bro,
Right.
she want to do it.
Oh,
She just wants you to go
yeah.
ahead and she wants you to warm the meat up, bro. That's what
That
she.
exactly. I want you to put
Now,
it in the microwave or
number
something.
6 is something I think men should pay attention to, and it's called hormone changes. And it's estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone all affect sexual desire and arousal. If your hormones become imbalanced, it may lead to a decline in libido.
Mm-hmm.
Hormone fluctuations can occur for many reasons, including pregnancy, menopause, age, menstruation, stress, medications, and environment. And I'm going to start
Yeah.
with environment, although it's at the bottom. I'm going to start with environment because we have to create an environment for both of us to feel like we can be vulnerable, we could be sexy, we could be intimate. We have to create an environment for one another that when you come home from that outside world, it's like, I'm happy to be here. You know,
Yes.
I've been
Yes.
thinking about coming home all day because
All
I was
day.
in a relationship where I was like, fuck it, I'll work 24 hours if I could.
But and on the flip side, I have been in a relationship where I would be like, is it time for me to go home yet? Because I can't wait to get there.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
had that.
yeah.
And that is awesome, but I think environment is something to talk about. Like when I first got with my fiance, I was very insecure about my body.
Okay.
And I had never lived with a man before. So, and I didn't know how things worked when you live with somebody.
All right.
Like when you live with a person, you cannot hide. You are just you. You are at your most
Hell,
vulnerable.
they walking in while you in the bathroom.
Yeah, everything. There's no privacy, there's no nothing. So I had to I had to be open
Right.
and I had to let some of that insecurity go. But my fiance was the kind of person that made me feel comfortable.
Okay.
He'd be like, girl, first of all, I don't see what you see. Secondly, come here, let me kiss all of the fat. So when it allowed me to let my guard down because I'm like, oh, this man loves me. So whatever I think is ugly or unattractive, he don't see it that way. And then that allowed me to be more free. And it allowed me to set aside my insecurities because then I started to view myself from a different lens. Like, I'm worried about the wrong shit. And, like for real. I was worried about the wrong shit. And then once I was able to let those things go and I realized that this man loves me because I was coming from a superficial place.
Right.
I was basing love or what I thought was love was contingent upon how I looked to him. And that wasn't
Excuse me.
that wasn't the truth. That
Right.
was some old fake shit that I had made up. And so, and I think part of your partner's job is allowing you to break down those walls and break down those barriers by being the best partner that they can be. And say, because he was like, I see you. So that shit that you trying to hold back high from me, I see you.
You you know what?
All 360, the 360 view. I see it all.
Let me say something. I mean, because I think a lot of women have jumped on social media and they see all these women with the BBLs, the breast, and all of this stuff. And then, yeah, these women may get a lot of likes, a lot of hearts, and all this shit. But
Mm-hmm.
when it boils down to it, at the end of the day, most dudes, if I approached you in the first place,
Mm-hmm.
I already kind of got a hint of what it's like. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If you're
Right.
not wearing four pairs of Spanx, you know what I'm saying, to try to
Right.
tuck everything in, I already know what it
Mm-hmm.
looked like. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, the one thing I don't want to hear, and I understand you guys have your insecurities about yourself. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
hear it because that's not my problem. That's your problem. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not trying to be mean and saying I don't care about what you think. Don't say it to me as if it should be something I'm concerned about. Just tell
Mm-hmm.
me it's what you're concerned about, and if you don't like it, work on it. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm gripping all of that. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
right, right.
so when
And
when
that's the other thing too. Like, okay, you're not concerned with it, but the other thing too is, well, baby, if you want to get it off, let's go to the gym. You know,
That's true too.
let's do something together. So now I know, oh, he's not turned off by it, and also this, he loves me, he gonna help me. You
Right.
know what I mean? We gonna do this thing together. So because I'm a firm believer in, it's it's us against the problem.
It
It's
is.
not you against the problem, it's us against the problem. So let's us work on
Yeah.
whatever issue so we don't have this as an issue anymore.
And I agree with you 1,000%. If it's an issue for you, it technically is an issue for me because it's messing with this for you, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what I'm trying to let you know is that is not an issue for me for what I see visually and how I feel about you. That's
Mhm.
all up here for you. But if I need to do something with you to get this thing resolved, let's go ahead
Mhm.
and knock this shit out. You know.
Yeah.
So we on the same page.
Yeah.
We on the same page. Now, another thing that really hurts the hormone changes are medications.
Mhm.
Because I've heard of some medications dry women out.
Mhm.
Some medications destroys a man's sex drive. You know, and we gotta. That goes back to healthy, healthy living, eating
Mhm.
better, in the smoke, in the drink, whatever it may be. We have to take care of ourselves before we have to pop all these damn pills that they want to put
Yes.
in our system.
Yes.
Stress.
Stress stress will fucking kill you, and definitely will eat lead to the weakening of your libido for sure.
But it's also, you got to come back to your environment too, because you don't want to walk into an environment that's stressful,
Right.
arguing. Every little thing is, you left your drawers on the steps.
I can't do it.
And trust me, I was in a relationship where, you know what, worse than arguing is not talking at all.
I can't live like that, Sherrod.
And I
I
did
can't
it.
live like that.
I did it. It sucked. It was like you can. It's like y'all walk past each other, and we in the same crib.
And nobody wants to be in that energy field. Like it's horrible. It's thick. It makes you feel bad. It brings you down. I just don't like that environment because whenever we would get into it and we would have those moments where we weren't talking, I hated that shit.
Yeah,
Like I
it sucks.
hated it.
It
It
sucks.
sucked. Like nobody should live like that.
Number
Nobody should.
7 is mental health issues.
Mhm.
Mental health concerns have also been linked to a decline in sexual desire and arousal. Specific issues can cause changes in brain chemistry that decrease sexual desire and impair one's ability to engage in sexual activity, especially if someone has a history with sexual trauma or relationship post traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Mental health issues include depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, PTSD, eating disorders, and personality disorders. So in the beginning, these are the things we need to talk about.
We
You
need
know,
to talk about these things. Yes, you need to tell me if you're prone to depression or if you have a history of depression or what your triggers are. We need to talk about those things and I need to know the signs. Again, so that I can make sure it's not me and so that I can know what to do when I do see the signs, so that I
right,
can be a help, so that I can be a support system. And who wants to have sex when they're depressed? I don't even like me. How am I like you right
right.
now? You know, or if you are schizophrenic or whatever your mental health issue is, nobody can have sex or nobody can have sex and really enjoy it in
Yeah,
those kinds of
yeah.
environments.
And see,
Nobody can do that.
and to me, that's, I mean, anxieties, the schizophrenia. It's like, how can you even think about?
Right, you cannot, because I've been depressed before. I can barely think about what I'm gonna eat for the day
Right.
when I'm depressed. I damn sure can't think about what kind of fucking is about to happen, or let me get ready.
But
No.
but here's the flip side. Now, remember the young lady, Beyonce's sister. What's her name?
Solange.
Solange. She had that song "Cranes in the Skies," and she said she
Mm.
tried to sex it away.
Mm-hmm.
And people will use sex as a means to try to, okay, I'm depressed. Well, let me just go have some sex,
Let me
and
just
let me
go have sex.
get my. It's a distraction.
It's a distraction. Now that is another thing too. And shit, I've had periods in my life where I tried to sex it away too. My own pain. Like it was a distraction. Because when you're being intimate with someone, when you're in that moment, you feel empowered, you feel important, you
Okay.
feel paid attention to. They're kissing me, they're telling me they love me or whatever, they whisper to you during sex, and they're touching me in a certain kind of way. So if I have low self-esteem or if I'm depressed, that moment to me is everything, because I'm getting everything that I feel like I need right now. I'm
So
being
does it go
touched.
away as soon as it's over with? Is it one of those things?
Absolutely. It does. It's
Wow.
because it's temporary. It's fleeting.
It's like that
It's
cocaine
gonna happen.
high.
Yeah. It's good while it's happening,
Yeah.
but then you leave and then you're right back depressed again. It's not a cure for depression.
Right.
It's what you said. It's an absolute distraction for the moment. But if I'm gonna go back to being depressed when you leave, that's not the cure. That's not the help.
Okay. Number 8, we brought it up, but this is the last one. Number 8 is medication side effects. And medications are sometimes necessary to treat physical health or mental health conditions. However, they can impact our hormones and disrupt our level of sexual desire and arousal. Medications that affect sex drive often have mechanisms that affect the biologic or hormonal mediators of libido. And like I said, I think if we learn to start taking care of ourselves before those issues arrive, we can kind of fight off the medication side effects and things like that. Just we just got to look at our health. Is we'll go to McDonald's 7 days a week, spend all that money instead of just saying, let me go to the grocery store and spend half of what I spent at McDonald's, and this will last me a week, and it's
Yeah,
healthier. You
yeah,
know.
yeah. I've never been in a situation where I've had medication affect my sex life,
Okay.
but I do know people, more men than women, um, that I know have been affected negatively by medication side effects.
Okay.
Um, And I've also discovered that men don't talk about it a lot. Like I talk about it I talk about certain things with my homegirls. But men, like erectile dysfunction and sexlessness, is not a popular subject matter because the men folk be thinking there's something wrong with them. There's a stigma,
Yeah.
but I don't think the stigma is what men think it is. I'm not walking around here like, oh, he can't get his dick up. I'm not doing that. I'm
You
I'm
you know what's funny? Okay. Now, if you spend any amount of time perusing fake book,
hmm
those jokes come up all the time.
mm,
The limp noodle, you know, and it is like, and if you are going through those things, it does make it seem like that's the thing, or what I'm saying,
hmm
because once you share it a few thousand times, and then when you hear what people when you see what people comment under it, and if you're going through that, I'm quite sure that does fuck with your ego. You're just
I'm
like, oh
sure.
man.
I'm sure it does. As I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said his erectile dysfunction had just come up in the middle of sex. He was like, we was fucking good, and then suddenly my dick just stopped working. And he did not want to tell her because he didn't tell her prior to that he had ED. And so she got upset because he didn't communicate that he was having erectile dysfunction. She got upset thinking it was
Her.
her. And he never cleared it up. He never said to her, "Oh, I have a pre-existing condition." He never said anything, and they actually like fell out because of that.
I'm
And
quite
I'm like,
sure.
"You a dummy. Why would you not say something to her?" And this man is older than me. So I think he 56 now. I'm like, dude, come on now. We grown as fuck. You can talk to her about that. If you care anything about her or anything about the involvement that you two have,
Hmm.
that's something you need to tell her. You got that lady over there thinking it's her, thinking she done turned you off in the middle of sex.
Yeah, you know,
That's so terrible.
because now she got this psychological thing going like, oh man,
Yes.
this dude might think my body ugly, my breath stink.
Yes.
She trying to
Right. Do
figure
my
out
pussy
all these
stink? She trying
things.
to figure it out. And she's thinking that it's her. And I'm like, that's so not fair to do to her when you know it's not her.
Yeah.
So yeah, you willing to let your relationship, because they had just started dating, just started having sex.
Oh,
Yeah. And I'm like, and he really liked her. He really liked her. I'm like, so you will be willing to not talk to her anymore because you don't want to tell her you have erectile dysfunction, nigga. What the fuck is wrong with you?
it's a pride thing. You got to realize men are judged based on our wallet and our wang wang.
But see, I don't think that's true, Sharad.
And you,
Like,
like I say,
but I'm
if you,
different.
yeah,
I'm a different type of
if
woman.
when you hear the conversations, and you know what, I'm a agree with you, and I'm gonna say that the majority of women are not like that, but the ones with the biggest voices are the
Yes.
ones saying, "Hey,
Yes.
if he don't have a lot of money, he's useless. If he don't have a big thing, he's useless." And you know what I'm
First of
saying?
all,
Or
a
if
large
he's
penis
not
is
good in it.
overrated. Yeah. A large penis is overrated. They be talking about they want 10 inches. No, you don't. That's too goddamn much. 10 inches is too much. Um, the average working guy makes about $60,000 a year. Like I don't know where they're getting all of these lists and all
This
of these
hundred thousand.
requirements. Yeah, like those types of numbers, those are the exception. Those are exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we all out here just working,
Yep.
like trying to live. And I think some women and some men have unrealistic expectations for other people that they expect to be in their lives. It's like, yeah, it's great. Okay, I get a man that's making $300,000 a year or more. Great, I didn't hit a lick, but me being with him is him having that money is not why I'm with him.
Right.
I mean, that adds to it. Of course, that's a perk.
That's
It
the
allows
icing
us
on the
to,
cake.
yeah, that allows us to be able to do a little more stuff. But that's not the substance of our relationship. Our relationship isn't based on that. But that's me, though. There are some women in the world who base their relationship on material things like
Yeah.
that. I'm just not one of those women. There are some women in the world who will base their relationship on how well a man performs in the bedroom. Now, although I'm not that one of those women, how a man performs in the bedroom or how we perform in the bedroom is important to me because I think sex is an important part of your relationship. It
Right.
really is. Compatibility is important.
Sexual
If you have
compatibility. Yeah.
a happy or you're sexually compatible with your partner, your relationship is better. It just is. That's just a fact of the matter. If I'm pleasing you and you're pleasing me,
Mm-hmm.
everything is better as a result of that. If we have a fucked up sex, if we got a fucked up sex life, that's gonna take a toll on our relationship overall. It just is. It sounds bad, but it's the truth though.
You know what? And
How many relationships do you know can make it if they having bad sex? I don't know any
oh
because
wow.
our desire to have good sex is gonna always be there.
Yeah.
We like so our desire and our passions are rooted in divinity. It's a divine thing.
Okay.
It's nothing I can't help that I have a sex drive. I can't help that I'm turned on by a certain thing.
Right.
Those are things beyond my control, meaning those are things that came here with me. Those were creations created by the creator, given
Right.
to me by the creator. These are gifts. And if those things are not being handled properly or um, handled to the full extent in which they could be, then that's going to affect my relationship. It really is in a negative way.
Yep.
Because you've heard the saying, "Damn, I ain't sleep with you last night," and somebody woke up on the wrong side of
Yeah.
the bed.
Yeah.
That's lets you know right there. Sex is very important to somebody's mood, how they are the following day.
Yep.
So yeah, but you're right. I cannot be in a sexless relationship. I
Yep.
cannot do.
Yep. I
Um,
agree with you a thousand
there
percent.
has to be a contingency plan established in the beginning of our relationship. We have to talk about this because if one of us can't satisfy the other one, what are we going to do?
Right.
We have to talk about that. I'm not saying necessarily break up with your man or your woman if they can't please you, but something got to happen.
Yeah. You got
What
to
if
be able to
my
talk
man
about it.
becomes a quadriplegic?
Oh.
Then am I supposed to not? I mean, really, what's supposed to happen?
Right.
Am I if my man becomes a quadriplegic? I'm still living, walking around. I'm not a quadriplegic. So am I cheating now? Or, like
I
what
mean,
what do
that's
you
a that's a very valid question, though.
do? And what if I get married and my man goes to prison? I'm out here.
Yeah.
What am I supposed to do? I'm still married. I'm in a sexless marriage technically. What the fuck am I supposed to do? And what the fuck is he supposed to do?
Right. I mean,
Like, how's he getting sex? You know? Yeah,
look, all
so
viable questions, and
yeah.
and I guess at the end of the day, it's about what you said earlier. Is we got to talk about these things in the very beginning so that we'll have a plan, a contingency plan in case any of these things ever happen to us, and nobody's looking like, what happened? No, we
Yes.
talked about this already. So,
Yep.
but I'm gonna leave you with the last word on sexless marriages and how to handle it. Sexless
Um,
relationships, period.
Excellent relationships, I think communication is the key to every successful relationship, whether they be romantic or platonic. I think that you have to voice whatever is bothering you
Right.
because, as my friend says, how you show up anywhere, you will show up everywhere eventually. So if I'm resentful of my husband or my partner, it's going to show up in other areas of our relationship. So I think it is best to communicate what you think and how you feel. If you're not being satisfied sexually in your relationship, I think you owe it to yourself and to your partner to communicate that. If it's not received well by your partner, then you have to do some reevaluating about the relationship you have with that person.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that we all, because we're grown, we can customize relationships to tailor our needs as a couple. If we cannot come to an agreement about what kind of relationship we should have, we should not be in a relationship. Um, yeah, I think just talking about it and being totally 100% honest about what your needs are.
Okay.
Like, you got to tell the unadulterated truth. Like, look, I got to watch porn before we have sex. Like, put it all out there. Because number one, I want you to make an intelligent choice
Right.
based upon this information that I've given you. I want you to know exactly what you're getting into. I'm going to tell you everything that I like, and then I'm going to give you I'm going to give you an opportunity to then do everything that I like, but in the way that you would do it though.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you how to do it.
You just gonna
I'm
say
just going to
what I
tell you
like.
what I like.
Okay.
And then I'm going to give you an opportunity to do it the way in which you would do it. And then I would hope that my partner would give me the same opportunity. And I think we just each have to give each other the opportunity to be ourselves and to determine whether or not we like that self that we're presented with.
Right.
And then if we don't, then another conversation has to be had. But I think communication is where it all stands. Um, I don't think sexless relationships necessarily mean it's the end of our relationship, but something needs to be talked about. A plan
Right.
needs to be put in place.
Hey, that is good enough for me. Thank you, Ms. Ricks.
You're
You know,
welcome. This coming from the single lady. Like, damn, I got all of these gems and all of this wisdom, and I can't apply it yet. But hey,
it's
I'm
coming.
still. It is. It's
It's coming.
coming. It's coming. Let me tell you, I went out on a date. I hate this dating shit. I promise you, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it with a passion. I promise you. But I'm not giving up on love just yet, though.
Okay.
But
Hey,
I hate it.
hey, look. So many people say the dating pool is so messed up,
It's,
you know,
it's
but
boo boo in the dating pool and piss. It is, Shariah. It's terrible out here. It is terrible.
it,
And there are a certain class of women who have made it bad or hard, difficult for women like me
uh,
to be in relationships because there are a certain class of women who now are just accepting of anything. And so, because I'm not accepting of anything, then I'm the bad guy. And then they love to say, that's why you motherfucking single. And you're right. You absolutely motherfucking right. That's why I'm single. Shit.
hey, look, I'm gonna put it this way. I don't put all the blame on either side. I just know we have women out there that have some very tall demands,
Like that,
and then
that whole list.
we got some. Oh yeah, those lists were, you know,
Come on now.
and we got some men out here that you know they want certain things but they can't provide certain things, so we all have to get ourselves together, and like you said, we got to communicate, and we do have to hold each other to a standard, but the
We
standard
do.
has to be realistic.
It has to be realistic, but you also have to hold yourself to a standard and
Yes,
then make sure you're not berating someone for their standard, for their boundary.
that's right.
Like, I have to have boundaries. I have to set a boundary. I have to set a standard so I can know from where I need to operate.
Hmm.
Like I can't be accepting of just anything.
No,
Like
you're a
that's not
thousand percent
prudent. That's
correct.
not.
You are a
Yeah.
1000% correct.
Yeah,
You,
but people will make it like your standards are unrealistic. It's like, no, it's just unrealistic for you. I'm not your people.
what they say,
I'm
if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for anything.
you will fall for
So
anything. I
you
tell
need
my sisters
standards.
all the time. Yes, you have to stand on something. So yeah, but I have not given up on love. I've not given up on intelligent romance, on
Sweet.
emotional maturity, or nothing like that. I know it is coming. I'm just tired of waiting.
It's there. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be
Yeah.
there. But
Well,
I
all right. We
appreciate
have
you.
had a great conversation. This was
Yeah,
awesome.
man, I enjoy this, man, because I like to hear from a woman's perspective, because I'm tired of being thought of as somebody that hate people.
Well, Sherrod, your online persona, it seemed like that. Like for real. You be sounding real cynical on the online. Be like,
Hey, look, no, I wish people would realize. I mean, I like to tell the other side of the story. If you want to give this, there's this. So
mhm.
let's stop pretending like it's all of one side doing all of everything, because we're both full of bullshit at the end of the day.
At the
That's
end
why I
of the
say
day.
OYBS, own your bullshit.
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, there's horrible men and there's horrible women out there, and once we are able to get them all out the way, because I believe everybody that's truly on some fucked up shit are on the extreme sides of the argument. You know, you
Yes.
got the feminists and then you got the red pill guys, and it's like they're driving the narrative, but all the people that's sitting in the middle are able to compromise, communicate. You know, they're able to do these things because we understand that I can't get everything I want out of the relationship. You can't get everything you want. So we
Mhm.
compromise and we work together as a team. You
Yes.
know, so
That's the goal.
I don't hate
That's the
nobody.
goal. Okay. Just checking.
All right, Miss Briggs, I appreciate you hollering with me about the 8 joints that screw up your marriage and make it sexless.
And imagine, I hope I never get into a situation like that.
So, my soul visionaries out there, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you can hear more insightful conversations, and peace.